Welcome, beauty lovers. This is episode 1 of the Beauty Breakdown. I'm your girl, Tippi Shorter Rank, celebrity stylist, global educator, texture aficionado, salon owner, and lover of all things hair, fashion, and culture.
And I'm Jamal Edmonds, celebrity stylist, global educator for Mizani and Redken, and also a salon owner. Super excited about being here with Tippi today because we are going to dive into all things beauty and all things texture.
So, speaking of texture, we are kicking off episode 1 with exactly that, the evolution of texture. That's where it started for me. Jamal, I know that's where it started for you. So, here is the Beauty Breakdown. So there are some really interesting things happening with legislation as it relates to texture. So we all know, about the Crown Act is something that's been going on for a really, really long time. And that's really about, people being able to wear their hair as it grows out of their head in the workplace. But what has not been happening is education for texture in beauty schools. So legislation is happening. Bills are being passed across the country to make it mandatory for a texture to be taught in beauty schools.
Yes, I love that, Tippy. And not only is she giving us the beauty breakdown, but Tippy has also been able to go to Congress. And well, tell us a little bit about that, Tippy.
All right. So thank you. So for the Texture of Change, which is an organization spearheaded by L'Oreal Professional Products Division, or actually maybe just L'Oreal in general, but we work with the L'Oreal Professional Products Division. And the initiative is Texture of Change. And I went to speak to Congress. I was on Capitol Hill with my bill, feeling like feeling like electric. What was it? Company? Are you old enough to know that show?
What,
Probably
what, what is,
Electric I'm just a
yes, I
uh,
know.
so that's what I was just singing on my way there. But anywho, I was asked to testify on Congress, and
Yeah.
I have to go to Sacramento in California. And for those of you who don't know, I'm actually from California, and that's where I got licensed. So I was asked to represent the beauty industry on behalf of L'Oreal for California. And the interesting thing is that there were two of us that were speaking. When we were there, we had 3 minutes each to speak. There were 2 of us, and once we both were done, I looked up everybody. We were basically talking to senators, and everyone there had curly hair. It was so bizarre. It was either some sort of wave or some, like,
Yeah.
loose wave or some but everyone was really kinda wearing their hair in its natural state, and this was during summer, so they did not understand why a person would go to school and not learn how to work on wavy, curly, coiled, and straight hair. So it was a unanimous yes. So I was helpful and instrumental in getting the bill passed in California to make it mandatory that you learn texture in beauty school.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So, but it's been a long time, right? I know that for years, for almost decades, like there's been a that missing component of texture being taught in beauty schools. And I think about me coming out of beauty school in 1999. I'm telling my age a little bit, but I
Wait,
came out of school
beauty school 1999.
1999, yes.
Right, okay.
So 1999, I came out of beauty
I
school.
think I graduated high school then.
1999, coming out of beauty school, and what I think about is, when I think about beauty schools is I think about it's a business, right? So depending on where you are, I feel like they train you in what their guests are coming to get mostly.
Mhm.
Right? You do get to learn some of the other things, but for us, it was really like roller sets and just like things that like old seniors would come and get. So I felt like we were trained to really, really make money for the school. But when
Right.
it came to really understanding texture, really understanding color on texture, really understanding the things that I needed to be successful when I was going back into the salon, I didn't learn a lot of those things. And so I am so excited that this next generation of hairstylists will get this training in school because I ended up going and spending tons and tons of money when I graduated because I felt like I didn't know anything. Right.
Yeah.
So that's really huge. I'm really excited to hear that.
I think that's a huge point, Jamal, that you brought up. I guess because I had not really thought of it as like a business, how it
Yeah.
should be. I guess how I thought it was is that you've got the curriculum,
Hmm.
you got set amount of hours, and you learn what you learn through said amount of hours. So I didn't even think about it. So for those of you who are brand new or thinking about coming to the beauty industry, when you are shopping schools, don't just go to the closest school to you. Don't go to the cheapest school to you. If truly want to be a well-rounded hairstylist, make sure you ask a lot of questions, interview them, see what they're offering, see what, the high volume is because exactly like Jamal said, once you get to the styling floor, you're really going to be trained mostly on what's walking through that door. And now with the global population having 65 or global population or more having 65% having textured hair, you're gonna be getting everything and everybody walking through that door, so you wanna make sure that you are fully and properly trained on everything.
I love that. And Tippy, we always say 65%, but I believe that that study was done years and years ago with
Yeah,
Erie. So I'm willing to bet that it's probably way more than 65%
I
at this.
agree with you. Yeah, I feel like I've been saying that for now for like 6 minutes.
Yes.
So
Same. So, like, when I'm in classes, I'll say 65%, but I feel like it's a lot more,
yeah,
because again, the evolution of texture, that's what we're talking about. And for me, like, I feel like most of the guests that I see in my salon has some type of texture.
yeah, yeah.
So I definitely think the numbers have grown probably tremendously over the last 7, 8 years.
I think that's really interesting and not only grown in terms of like the population, but
Yeah.
just people discovering like, "Oh, I didn't even know I had curly hair." Like, there's tons of people who will sit in our class and, I have this client, she's always getting a blowout or keratin and she didn't even really recognize that she had curly hair. And a lot of that, by the way, if you have clients who their hair is always frizzy and it's always this and it's always that, case in point, and maybe I can pull this up. I had the opportunity to do a show for TLC called, oh gosh, the fact that I can't think of the name of the show is it's okay. Let me pull out my lady of a certain age fan. So
You
dear friend of mine, Dr. Singh, she was one of the leads on the show, and she's a derm, and she specializes in textured hair, like scalp, skin, all the things. And so she was doing makeovers and brought this woman to me who had glass hair syndrome. Have you heard of that?
No. Tell me about that.
So, well, when I saw it, I was like, they're making this up. That ain't real. And I'll insert video here if I can, if they allow me to replay it. But anyway, so she had glass hair syndrome or spun glass hair syndrome, and it's basically hair that was her hair almost looked like mine. But
Okay.
because she didn't know how, or her stylist didn't consider her having curly hair and she's Caucasian, they just assumed it was coarse, it was thick, it was wavy, it was bushy, it was all these things. And now we have to do all this stuff to get it straight
Mhm.
or you can properly hydrate it and put in products to let its natural texture do what it's gonna do, and actually, as it turns out, she had curly hair. So, saying all that to say is with the
Yeah.
population is people who are just realizing that
Yeah.
they've got texture.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I think that a lot of my guests in the salon when we went through COVID, they were really, really they wanted to dive into what their natural texture looked like. And I think two things that I was taught during the COVID process is that clients were really, really dependent on their stylists, but the other thing was that they didn't really know how to do their hair and they didn't really know what their natural texture was. So it was a really great time for me to kind of like motivate them, inspire them to really know like what's happening on their head. There's a lot of guests just come into the salon every week, every 2 weeks, and they just don't know anything. They don't have any product and all of those things. And so it was a space for me to really educate and then show my clients like how to do their hair and just really like what is naturally growing out of their scalp.
Yeah.
So it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time, and now those clients wanna continue on that journey,
Yeah.
so back to the school, make sure, A, if you are someone who is wanting to go to school, like, fully vet the schools,
Yeah.
and B, if you are a stylist who truly wants to be a well-rounded hairstylist, make sure you check out all ongoing education.
All right, so Tippy, it was some other things that was happening, right? I think there was a Senate bill or something like that. I know you know all of the things about
I
all
don't
of
put that on me. I don't. But there are, I think there are, well, I'm gonna read just so I can get it right. So there are quite a few states now that have passed that bill. But what's happening now, there's two things that are happening now, is that states that have passed the bill, which is incredible and exciting, what's happening now is, for example, let's just say when I was going to school in California, it was 1,600 hours. Now they're like, okay, so I'm adding texture to that, where do I get the extra 2 to 4 to 600 hours. So they're trying to decide what to cut. And a lot of people are deciding to cut the blow dry service. And I'm just thinking blow dry is key and essential to
Yeah.
hairstyle. So no, don't do that. But also, I learned how to do manicures and pedicures when I clearly wanted to learn just hair. So, if you're knock, 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 if you're thinking about something that you need to cut, cut the nails and the toes for the
Uh-huh.
hairstylist because I've not touched a nail since I was in Cosmo School.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, makeup. Like, I know that when I was in school, we had to learn a little bit about makeup too. So I feel like they can cut the skin and makeup. I believe that in Maryland, I know specifically for the apprenticeship program because I do have an apprenticeship program in my salon, and they have 2 different types of program. And one program is for hair, makeup, nails, and then the other one is just for hair. So I feel like they could kind of separate those things to where, if someone wants to do it all, if they're into skin, nails, and hair, then maybe they can do that. But for me, I know the program I'm strictly dealing with hair because that is kind of what I want to share.
Yeah.
And the program is also geared towards, understanding all of the things that you don't know in hair school.
So, Jamal, speaking of cutting,
Mhm.
Um, there is a viral video, which by the way, I haven't seen. So this is something someone mentioned to me. There are people screaming from the rooftops about how dry cutting curls is damaging their hair.
Yeah. So Tippy, I just feel like it's probably somebody that had a bad haircut that's now a PSA, right? Because clearly, you can't just well, first, this is the curl cutting queen. Tippy invented the Mizani AirCut, which is something that I use a lot in my salon, and it is, my staff has learned it, and it is a great, curl cutting method, right? And the curls are cut dry. But I really want you to really so for me, I feel like, once I learn this Mizani haircut, I would never cut curls wet again, right? And because what I love is to have tools and things that I can have consistent results, right? I feel like building a client base, you have to have consistent results. You have to have a blueprint. And a lot of times when you deal with textured hair, I feel like we don't have blueprints for color or cut and maybe even styling, right? So I do think that you creating this, you're able to create a beautiful shape, but it's based off science, art, and technique. So I want you to tell me just a little bit about why you think the Mizani haircut is great for dry curl cutting.
So, well, thanks, Jamal, for that. I really appreciate that. So, first of all, kind of back to the science part, the Mizana ear cut teaches you, the fundamentals of texture. So it's not just like, hey, here's this curly mannequin, here's some scissors, let's pick her out and let's prune her into a shape. No, that's not what we're doing. We are diving deep, learning how the hair grows, why it grows the way it grows, and because of that, what challenges the client is gonna have as a result of how and why the hair grows the way it does. And then with the Mizani air cut, there are 5 cutting techniques within the whole method that will help basically create solutions for those challenges those clients have based on their hair type, their hair density, and how it grows. So it's way more in depth than, just coming in and getting a shape. Truly, it allows the curls to truly just pop and live on their own, which means that they are more dynamic and you've got better curls after this cut. And what I love to say about the Mizani air cut is, and I say this in relation to other cuts, but with Mizani air cut, you're not learning how to do a curly cut. You're learning how to cut curls.
Mhm.
So, which then you can do any and all the curly cuts, right? So it's more foundational and it's more really back to the basics versus, the show of let's get the biggest, roundest, fullest, frame filling cut that we can get. It's like, no, my client has a real issue. She doesn't want her hair that full and big. She actually wants it, to be whatever she wants it to be. And I've now got the tools, and anyone who has been Mizani AirCut certified also has the tools to help their client have their curls live the best life ever.
Yeah. I think that to your point, I love the Mizani earcut. I think that the way you make how you set it apart is that you're not doing a curly cut. You're learning how to cut curl, right? And I feel like, when you think about it, all of the glides and everything that comes with it, the science, all of those things. When you sit in a class, a lot of times I see so many light bulbs going off because so many people don't really understand how it grows, what it does, how it shrinks. And that's another reason why you don't want to cut it wet, right? I
Exactly.
remember doing my first curly cut. It was maybe like 20 years ago, and I did it, and this young lady had to be like maybe 4A, and somewhere between what 7, something like that, 7, 8 on the Mazzani texture key, and I cut it wet. And when I say it shrunk up, it was horrible. Like, it was the first time.
While she's getting it cut, she's like, "Yes, it's down here. It's yes."
Listen, and when she left, it was like this. And I could literally feel her anxiety, the both of our anxiety. And just while I was doing it and while she was getting it done, it was bad. And, it was one of those things where I shied away from cutting curls since then, until I learned the Mazzani haircut because I just wasn't confident in being able to do it. And then a lot of the other methods that I've seen, I kind of feel like, I like things that have blueprints, like I said earlier. And I see a lot of, curl by curl and those type of things. And what I would always get is these guests that would go and get these curls and they would come in for a silk press. And when I mean, get these curly cuts and they would come in for a silk press service. And as I'm smoothing, blow drying, I see all of this choppiness and all of these things happening. And a lot of them will be really upset once they wore their hair straight because they're like, oh my goodness, like this is not what I expected. And even for me, it just took me a long time to really embrace it. And obviously with the Mazzani haircut, it is definitely a game changer. I've really been able to create some beautiful work, but not just create beautiful work, but understand the why behind it. Because as a hairstylist, I want to know the why behind it, but I also want to be able to do really beautiful work and have my guests extremely satisfied, but also be able to recreate it, right? That's the other thing. It's like if I'm doing a service that I can't recreate, every single time, it's like you doing color and forget to write the formula down, right? We don't do that. We write all of the things down.
Smarter, not harder. Don't make your job harder.
It's like I get on my stylist about that all the time. I'm like, we have an entire system where you can record the formula. So why are you guessing when they come back for their service?
Right.
Oh, is it this? Is it that? Like all you have to do is record it. And so again, Mazzani Erica, hands down, I mean, it is the best curl cutting method. And then just to be able to kind of mix and match the glides, you can kind of solve whatever solution. Like I remember doing a guest that I had never had a guest that wanted to shrink her curl. I mean, not shrink her curls, but condense them. Right. She didn't want them to be big in the circle. And to your point, you said that earlier. A lot of times people just go in and they want to create this beautiful round shape, but what if they don't want that?
Right.
And this was a guest who had like three kids, and they were all, like, under 5, and she didn't have the time to do any of that, right?
Yes.
She's like, "No, I want my girls to
No.
be more classy, right? I don't have the time. I don't wanna deal with all of this." I did a really chic, like, A-line bob and, like, went in and took all of that. Yeah, I took all of the bulk out, and it was super sleek and chic, and it was beautiful, but it was curly,
Yeah.
and even in my mind, when I was doing it, I was like, "Wow, I didn't even realize that I could do this," but, for me, it was a great haircut for her. She absolutely loved it. She eventually grew it out, but, it was awesome to be able to see how I can take these techniques and create something as beautiful, but also something that people may not ask for or request on a daily basis.
Love that. So soccer moms can be curly too.
Yes.
Switching gears, Jamal, there is I know you listen, you're way more connected to social media than I am
Yeah.
at all in all the things. So, what have you been seeing else that has been going, like, crazy or viral?
So, what I've noticed that I have seen that is has become a viral hairstyle, but there's a little backstory behind it that I don't think people have been talking about yet, is that the return of the quick weave, right? So, yes, so you know what a quick weave is, Tippy.
Yes, I do.
Okay. I think it's just the name that really kind of
I was
turns us.
just like, listen, the when done well, the results are
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yes.
Done them, I've worn it,
Yeah.
the name irks me, but yeah, I'm familiar.
So the return of a of the quick weave, right? And we categorize a quick weave as a protective style. But the thing about protective styles, right, is it a real protective style? Are you really protecting your hair? Right. So that is the conversation I feel like that is happening a little more behind the scenes, but I'm
Well,
seeing.
let's break down what a protective style is for those who don't know, Jamal.
Yes. Okay. So a protective style is a style that people like women mostly like to put in their hair, right? For really to protect their hair or give them a break from flat ironing or styling on a daily basis. So some protective styles can include braids, they could include faux locks, sometimes extensions, and now quick weaves would also be in that category because your natural hair is braided up and then a cap is put on and this protective adhesive or like shield is put on top of that and then you glue on top of that, right? So you got a lot of things happening.
Mhm.
But for me, what I think about is, for one, we're still using glue. And I am not shunning the people that use glue. I just think it needs to be done in the correct way. I am not a glue user at all, not on a client.
Mhm.
I think
Photo
there's other,
shoots, fashion week,
yeah,
like, yeah,
quick
quick
things,
in and
right?
out, in and out, yeah.
Yeah, when you think about like, if we're doing a project or something that's super quick, I'm never ever gonna put glue on a scalp, and if I need to attach hair to a guest or a model, I'm gonna use tapes or I'm gonna do something else, beads, something, just not glue. Now, if I need to glue on like a wig or something like that, then that's a little different. But for me, what I think about is these protective styles is what's really happening under the hair. The other thing is that the guests leave them in for a long time. So if you are I mean, you braid the hair, then you put this protective shield over it, which we don't even know what the protective shield is made of, to be quite honest. And then you going on top of that with glue, right? A lot of it's a lot of tension happening. And you pressing this glue down, and then what happens is when it comes out, a lot of women are losing their edges. And they're losing their edges not because they may directly put glue here, but what's happening is you putting all this stuff on the hair, and by the time you pressing it down, it's a whole bunch of tension. And what I'm realizing is that a lot of guests are showing up social media to the salon everywhere with these hairlines that are now a little bit more sparse because of these protective styles. And so I think that there's a way to do it, right? There is a way to do protective styles in terms of what it looks like. But I also think that the guest has to be really aware of their texture type and then also what their hair can handle and what it can't. For me, I just think it's a really fine line that you have to walk with these protective styles because, again, if they are not protecting the hair, then what is the point of it?
Right.
I remember I was on a cruise. I went on a cruise a few years ago and we left from Baltimore, Maryland. And it was a lot of older women. And when I'm looking at these women go onto the boat, I'm like, I mean, nobody had edges. It was crazy to me.
Now
And
that's who's supposed to wear the protective style, by the way, is when you're going on vacation, wanna get your hair wet every day and all those things.
yeah, nobody had edges, Tippy. It was crazy to me. I'm like, I just want to set up a hair salon inside of my room in my cabin on the boat and help these women because it's crazy to me. And they were all black women, so that's another thing. I think that when we think about like our culture, young women, young little girls, they start with the cornrows and the braids and all of those things. And I think that understanding intention, understanding these protective styles, these braids and all of those things, when you've had literally 40 years of tension and braiding and all of that, you are going to get some hair loss.
Yeah.
And it starts with these young, young kids.
Yeah.
So I think that we as a culture just have to be really careful, about understanding what tension does or understanding if you're going to wear braids, how you need to do it, how long they need to stay in, how you need to treat the hair in between, all of those things I think are truly important. But I'm a little concerned with the return of the quick
We're
weave.
gonna call it something el and in fact, in my salon, we do call it something else. I think we call
Yeah,
it the extension or something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I agree 100% to that, and, just kinda piggybacking off of that and talking about the edges, 'cause, a lot of the tension also came in the last 5 years with the explosion of baby hair, and
Mhm.
everyone, kinda, like, shellacking the baby hair and gluing it down to their heads and all those things, and, decorative edge art, if you will, um,
I
but
know you will say baby hair. The term.
with a
The
passion and the look. Listen, there's some if the edges are artfully crafted, but
Yeah,
once if they're just glued and shellacked to the head just for no reason, then yeah, then what's the point? So, I think big picture is just as a stylist, you like I've had clients by the way come to me and they're like, "Can you like lay down my edges?" I'm like, "No." I cannot lay down your edges, but I can make sure, that they are seamless and blended into the rest of your hair.
yeah,
And so, by the way, as a stylist, stick to your convictions. If you've got
yeah.
clients who are like, damage my hair, you gotta in fact, I told a stylist, she didn't want the quick weave, but just kind of just back to, the idea that the clients have and what they want. And us as professionals really trying to steer them in the best possible healthy health hair way. She came to me and she's like, well, I want to relax her. I wear color, and then I have a girl who's going to do my extensions. I'm like, so you want me to chemically straighten your hair? You want me to then put said color on straightened hair, and then you're going to braid all that up. So it's not going to get any oxygen. It's not going to get any natural oils. It's not going to get all these things, and you're going to braid it up and then so tightly other hair on top of it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I literally told her, "I'm not doing that. You're gonna have to find another stylist." And she was huffed. She was mad, and she's mad that she had to pay for the consultation. I'm like, "This is my time. I didn't know I had to tell you no. I thought we were like, gonna build something together." And lo and behold, she called me back 4 weeks later, thanked me
Yeah,
for turning her away and not, allowing her to make a huge mistake with her hair. So stylists, really stick to your convictions when your client is wanting something like the shellacked edges, the quick weaves, and things like that. And by the way, quick weaves, like when done well and with thought and care, are beautiful, like, transformative and really great for clients who need to put their hair away or are having hair growth challenges and just want a different look. So, definitely not anti that, but anti the resistance of a client wanting to listen to a stylist and how long they can wear it.
I agree with that. I think that anything, when you do too much of anything, obviously it becomes an issue. And again, there are people that do a great job with quick weaves and they do care for your hair and all of those things. So I just think about those things. But for me, it is I just sometimes when I just can't like put my stamp on things or I just don't can't control the outcome, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I would rather and I'm an old school stylist too, and I'm cool with where I am and my clients love me and the women that I serve, so I'm okay with it. I don't feel like I need to try to be, something else. I'm cool with where I am in the industry and the clients that I serve. So
I love that. You are.
all right, so Tippy, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about product trends or tools. So, is there anything like in the industry, like tool wise or product wise, that you are just absolutely loving and that you just cannot keep out of your kit or out of your salon?
So, absolutely. I received a dryer called the Air Light Pro, from L'Oreal Professional. It is which is really interesting because they were talking about this dryer for a long time, talking about the light, the infrared light and how it helps to dry the hair fast. And I'm thinking, so I'm gonna be drying hair with light and not wind? Like, that's interesting. I need to like really check this out. So when I first got it, I opened it up, I turned it on, I was like, oh, there is wind. Okay. Okay, I get it. But the really like the piece de resistance is that you don't have to have the temperature so high because you do have the infrared light, and it's like this really beautiful kind of turquoisey blue tealy light, but it does help dry the hair faster and smoother. So Jamal, actually, I had the opportunity, and this wasn't, by the way, something I intended to do, but I really kind of had a head-to-head test using the Airlight Pro along with another very popular dryer that also just launched. And because we were doing a shoot together, and on my model, I was using the Airlight Pro. Wasn't by the way, for this dryer, there is no comb attachment, so it has a diffuser and then the concentrator nozzle. But I listen, y'all, I'm typing. Can we get a comb? Can we get a comb? This is all this needs. Can we get a comb?
Yeah.
So, no word back yet, but we'll see. So anyway, blow dried half of my model's hair, and then you actually needed the dryer because you were gonna be on set. So I
Yeah.
gave you the dryer, and then I, broke out this other dryer, and the other dryer does have a comb attachment, but I'm like, "You know what? I'm just gonna use the concentrator nozzle, and Imma see what's up." When I tell you that the Airlight Pro dried the hair faster,
Mhm.
smoother, shinier, and
Mhm.
softer,
Yeah.
I'm like, it really blew my mind. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah.
When you think of, like, marketing things, you're like, "Yeah, it's a light," not to say that it was gimmicky, but I'm just like, "Okay, this is new, this is interesting, does it really work?" Well, by the way, it really works,
Yeah.
and I'm a huge fan of the Airlight Pro, so it is in my kit. I got one at the salon, I got one in my house, so yeah, we're rocking. Oh, yep, oh, and my hair, Jamal. My hair usually does not dry with some
Yeah.
sheen. There there is sheen in
Yeah.
in this hair today.
You know what? It's, interesting, Tippy, because I feel like I was somewhere when it was launched, right? And, it was just like a lot of marketing material that was happening that was coming on our screens and wherever I think it was a show or something. And when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh, that looks cool," but I thought it looked very familiar, you know? And then I'm also like, "Well, what is the light about? And is this really gonna work?" To be quite honest, because I think, like, as a hairdresser, when you find your favorite thing, it's really hard to get you away from, what your favorite things could be.
Right.
And I had already kinda adapted my favorite or adopted my favorite blow dryer, right? So I'm like, I don't know if I will give this a chance."
I like what I like, dang
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's tough because I think, like, again, back to, earlier, just creating consistent results for me, I think that's super important. And when I found a rhythm, and I'm able to service my guests in the ways that we both like, it's really hard to get me away from that. And so, when I initially tried it, I tried it as a blow dryer, using the nozzle, and
Mhm.
I was like, "Okay, this is really cool," but to me, when I started using it with curl was what really, really sold me. I felt like, the diffuser, when you use the diffuser, it dried the hair a lot quicker, but also, like you said, this really, really nice shine. And I love, like, all of the gadgets too. Like, I'm a gadget guy, so the fact that you can, create settings for different guests, and they
Do you
have
use
I've used it a few times.
that? I've not even downloaded it.
So it's the other thing is that, they have like sleek, curly, and wavy in terms of like the temperature gauges and that type
Yeah.
of thing or settings. And so you can kind of set it to where, you want the wind and the heat to kind of come out together. So it's really, really cool, especially if you are into all of those things. But really just a standalone blow dryer is really cool. Now, you know what I started doing probably in the last 2 months. Tippy is using the Airlight Pro along with the Steam Pod. And listen, when I say,
Yeah. Yeah.
when I say
Yeah.
the silk press is pressing,
It's
the silk
pressing.
press
It's
is
soaking.
pressing.
The press is soaking and pressing. Listen,
I mean,
I know that you know that I know that you knows that I'm the biggest fan of that steam
yes,
pop. It
yeah,
and I I have 3 in my salon and I have 2 in my kit just in
Yeah.
case. It is phenomenal. By the way, sad news, I heard that it is going away.
Oh god,
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy
yeah.
all of them.
So,
Imma
you
go for some more.
whenever there is a sale at Salon Centric, you make sure you and that's what I
Ooh.
the moment I heard that, I was like, "All right, let me go stock up," because
Yeah, I'm gonna stock up for sure. I have a guest who is very coiled, right? She is very tight coiled. And we decided we were doing like a silk press, but I was using the temperature, I was dropping the temperature down very low on a ceramic iron. And it normally for everyone else it was doing well, but for her we noticed that she was losing a lot of body and movement, right? So I immediately was like, I don't know that I want to continue to silk press you. And she's a curly girl, true and tried. Like she definitely likes her wash and goes, rods, twist outs. So when she gets into the silk press season, it's not for a long time, but she does like to see it straight. And so I said, you know what? I want to use the steam pot on her. In my mind, I'm thinking like it's less heat, it uses the steam to smooth the hair. I want to try this on her and I want to see. And we have been silk pressing her for a couple months now. And
with the steam pod.
with the steam pod, the air light for the blow dry, round brush blow dry, and then the steam pod. And when I say beautiful, and she is so obsessed. It's funny because, clients, they like new things, right?
Yeah.
And so even though I had the steam pod for a long time, I don't use it on everyone.
Mhm.
And when I pulled it out, she's like, "Oh, I've never seen this." I'm like, "Yeah, this today we want to try something different." And I was kind of explaining to her how it worked. And it's like every time she comes, she's like, steam pod, right?" And I'm like, "Yes."
They ask for it by name. I have
Steam
clients
pod.
I have clients that ask for it by name.
Yeah.
I'm not doing them. They make sure that I add it in their
Yeah.
notes for anyone
Yeah.
else who's doing them. And I had 2 clients who had me buy them their own version once I told them that they were not gonna be around, maybe next year or something. Yeah. So, just in case they need to bring their own to the appointment, like,
Yeah.
just in
I think it's a super
Listen, L'Oreal, you man, you stuck the steam pod. You don't know what you have here, and if you do know, let's put some
yeah,
energy into it because we are loving it. Clients are loving it. Let's
yeah.
keep that steam. I'm gonna have a protest sign. Let's keep the steam pod. Let's right here. Let's keep the steam pod.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's pretty awesome. And again, like when you think about innovative tools, right? And then just a different service because that's another thing. Like I don't believe that nobody in my area is offering a steam press, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I call it.
Oh,
Um,
love that. I might have to
yeah.
steal that.
Yeah, I call it a steam press. So when people go online, they're like, "Oh, what is a steam
What's
press?"
that?
Yeah. So I think maybe Jada and Evie obviously might have one, but in terms of like my area and stylists, I'm sure no one else has them. So it
Right.
also kind of creates a service and sets me apart from most, salons, right? So that's another thing. I try to figure out a way to market my salon in a way that, is unique and different. And having sometimes these really cool tools and innovative tools is a really great way to kind of keep the customer coming.
I love that. That's exciting. I'm stealing that name. So that's that.
Yes, listen, you and I can borrow. So Tippi, I was able to go see the Queen Bee in Paris with a few of my friends, and if you have not seen Beyonce, well, Tippi, you have a special, relationship with Beyonce. I'll let you tell us in a little while. But if
Okay.
you haven't had a chance to really see Beyonce in concert, obviously she gives a great concert. You are like drawn into the visuals, the dancing, the dancers, the choreography, the fashion. I feel like this tour for me, I've never really seen Beyonce as a fashion girl, but this tour because it's
Hold on. Let me just say, you might have the beehive. You might want to re what you just said because,
listen,
and I know you're the biggest bee fan.
yeah.
So the fact that you said that,
Well, listen, I think that when I think about fashion and style, right? I think Beyonce has all of the fashions, right? Because obviously she is Beyonce. But in terms of style, I don't know that I feel like she's had the best style over the years. I feel like it's evolved a lot. But I do feel like when I think about this tour and the outfits and the wardrobe and the homage to like the country western attire, I feel like she did it so good. She definitely did a great job and her stylist and whoever was behind it. She had a lot of, iconic looks from a lot of different fashion houses that I think were just chef's kiss. I think that also this is the more authentic I feel like she's been in terms of fashion.
Yeah,
I think like when you think about her in her Destiny's Child days, even when her mom was still making outfits, they wore cowboy hats and
yeah,
wore those type of Western inspired outfits, and I think it really was authentic to who she is now. This is the best I think the fashion has been in a really long time. And then the other thing was what I took away from the tour was not just all of that, like I love fashion and I was really excited to see like Loewe's fashions. Gucci did a really nice one. There was a lot of really, really good fashion moments happening. But the other thing I thought about is that she is Beyonce and she is literally almost putting Blue Ivy in a space where she can flourish and become who she wants to be, whether that is a singer, dancer, whatever. But I look at it like she's setting her family up.
yeah,
It isn't just really about her, her husband's there, her kids are a part of the show, so I'm, like, a very family-oriented guy, and to see her, like, kind of include her family in the show, and Blue Ivy looked just like Beyoncé when she,
she did.
debut with Destiny's Child. It was just like it was awesome to me, and I had a great time, and we went to see her in Paris, and so Paris is one of my favorite places. The food, the shopping, the architecture. I mean, it was a vibe. So
Listen,
that's
if I was going to go to a concert, which by the way, I'm not. But if I was going to, I for sure would choose a place out of the country that let me just say I saw those photos and I was just like, I know Jamal is living his bestest.
no,
Bestest.
no,
But yeah, she looked amazing. I'm a huge B fan also,
yeah,
and she does look amazing. And I'm gonna agree with you, so as you mentioned, I had a moment. I did have the amazing opportunity to work with Beyonce for 3 years. And I do remember on her downtime, she is, like, super bohemian in her personal life. She has, like, a lot of, Southern Western things in her bohemian, like, personal life space. Now, I don't know if that's evolved since I've worked with her because that was also quite some time ago, but, yeah, the this I listen, I'm not ever would I have ever wanted to wear any Western anything, but I did go out and buy me a cowboy hat. I did. Not concert, but just because I loved the, everything she brought to the table with it, and, it made me feel good in it, so
yeah,
I think that's what fashion and music and all of that does do, is it's supposed to make you feel good, and her music and that whole era of what she did inspired me to want to make myself feel good in a nice Western hat and a cowboy hat, and that's what I did, friend.
yeah. The other thing was I just feel like who else can get the world dressed in Western gear? I mean, when I say if you didn't have on Western gear, you was just like you felt like you didn't belong. It was
So
it was
everybody at the concert have on, like, up
everybody.
stuff, like, everybody.
Everybody has their interpretation of what it was, but
Yeah.
everybody was on theme. Like, it was crazy. And I felt like to me, Paris and London, she had some of the best fashions, but I also felt like the audience had some of the best fashions. And so I was excited to see all of that. Like I have a really good friend, I'm not gonna say her name, but we had to beg her to participate in wearing her Western attire. And I'm sure if you knew her,
I know.
talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna get on her, but we was like, "Girl, you cannot speak in regular clothes."
No regular degulars here. Listen, so what was the hair giving?
So the hair was like I felt like the hair that particular night was old Destiny's Child, where she wore it curly.
Okay,
That was the hair, and then the hair for the audience or the people that was attending the show, everyone had either a long bust down, some long braids because everybody had their cowboy hats on.
right.
So I don't know if you saw that viral moment where it was like a TikTok or Instagram where everyone was lifting their head up at the end of the concert and everybody's leave out was like an afro. You got this straight, long, smooth hair, and then under the cowboy.
The Sweat City.
So it was funny, but the hair was amazing. I obviously as a hairstylist, we know Beyonce's not gonna go too far with her hair, right? Because yes,
Chances, she cut it all off. She's done the black, like,
yeah.
the brown, like, she's taken chances very quickly.
Yeah, but I think, like, once, like, the older she's gotten,
Yeah,
I feel like,
yeah,
she's
this is it.
pretty
Yeah,
yeah, like, she sticks to, like, the same tone, it's gonna be long and straight or it's gonna be long with some body or curly, that's pretty much it, but I do think, like, for, the cowboy hats and all of that, like, it needed to be that,
yeah,
so I was okay with everything. I mean, I just think I really, really don't have anything bad to say about the show. I just think it was an amazing time. Like it's definitely going to be, and this is my first concert for anybody out of the States, So again, like you said, if I'm gonna go, like I feel like now I'm not going anywhere in the US. Like
yeah,
it was definitely a whole vibe. It was exciting and it was one of the highlights of my summer.
So this particular our episode 1, we're not doing any guests, but maybe we can reach out to Neil and, see if we can put him on as a guest for one of our upcoming shows, so
Yes, yes. Yes, I would love that.
So, Jamal, let's talk about pro news. There are
Um,
so many things happening in the pro space. So, my friend, my co-host, just joined an incredible team with Redken. So, Jamal, tell us all about that pro team.
Okay, so the Wrecking team has named some artistic ambassadors for Wrecking, and it means that we will do virtual education, beauty shows. We'll help create education, and I'm really excited because this is interesting to me. I've always been a part of Wrecking, but they just did like a relaunch where they added some additional members, and then they launched all of us, and it was a super cute way that we did it. Like they sent us a phone, and we all had to kind of like pretend like we was answering the phone, and once it was launched, it was like Reckons calling us, and we picked up the phone to hear the good news, and then we shared it on social. So it was really cute. But being a part of the team is way more important than just me. I feel like collectively, all of us together are super passionate about the industry, super passionate about it's a collection of celebrity stylists, behind the chair stylists, salon owners, educators, and collectively, we share our passion, whether it's through color, styling, curl care, whatever it is. And I just think that we have such a huge team where you'll get education, all kinds of education. So it's like they really thought about, what the consumer needs. And I feel like all of us collectively will be able to deliver some dynamic education for whoever really needs it, in whatever space you're in. So, but also for me, as an artist, like I love to rub elbows with greatness, right? So whenever I'm in a room or I have the opportunity to work with people that can inspire me and motivate me and keep me going, it's always great for me. I think that that is a part of what keeps me grounded, but also moving, and learning. And it's something that I'm really, really excited about.
Iron sharpens iron, right?
Yes.
So you are a part of an education team that is exactly that. I'm so excited. I will be in your classes, maybe virtually, but
Yeah.
I'm so has the education launched already? When do we have any start dates? Is there anything that you're actively doing you want to tell everybody about?
So I am doing a few it's towards the end of the year. So, shows are kind of slowing down now. We do have the American Symposium coming up though next year in July. I'm sorry, no, it's in June and it's in Las Vegas. And there's a lot of education that will be happening. I'm super excited about what I created. I submitted it. I'm hoping they'll say yay. But we were able to kind of pitch to them what we wanted to teach or what we wanted to share on stage. And so I did something a little bit different. So I'm hoping that they'll say yes to. But again, it's so many educators. It's 3 days, 2 days of education,
Mm.
color, finishing, styling, and you can pretty much learn all of the things that you need. I love that the fact that we all have a different perspective or spin on how we use the product, and they allow us to be authentic in how we use it.
Love
So like me and you might use the same product, but we may use it in a different way.
Yeah.
So I love that they're allowing us to really be authentic to who we are as artists and behind the chair and how we use the product. So that's also important to me. And then so that's what's happening next year. And then like I have a few virtual things and classes that will take me to the end of this year. But the symposium is next year and it's going to be super, super exciting.
That's awesome. I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited for you. Sounds like you're gonna have an incredibly busy end of the year and an
Yes.
incredibly busy start of the new year. So with that, I want to talk about self-care, friend.
Yes.
About
Yes.
self-care. So tell me so with your super busy life, all your education, everything that you're doing, what are you actively doing for self-care? What's one of your favorite things to do?
That is a really good question, Tippy. And I think I'm so glad that we thought about adding self care because as stylists, we give and give and give and give, but you can't give from an empty cup. Right. So you have to make sure that your cup is full. And the ways that I fill my cup these days is meditation. When I wake up, I meditate and I pray before I do anything. And then I'm constantly and actively in the gym. I'm trying to get my diet together because the holidays are coming. And I'm a big holiday guy, so I'm trying to make sure that I can get my diet under control. But meditation, prayer, and exercise is great for me. I've also been really, really like doing great skincare or trying to make sure that I have a great skincare regimen.
Yeah.
Because I need to look young at all times. I
No,
do.
yes, R22.
So those are my things. What about you? What are your self-care must-haves?
They are all over the place. I am just now, that term soft life, I'm just
Yeah.
now leaning into my soft life. I'm leaning into my feminine energy. My family and I were doing what is considered to be called slow travel. So we are not self care, but I'll get there. We sold our house. We were traveling in our motorhome, and then a couple of times out of the month, we also travel internationally. So we're doing some slow travel, and with that, I get up, I walk, I am eating better. Fresh fruits, making smoothies every morning, and all those things. So just things that I did not do when I was in my one active place with my one active like regular routine and all those things. So I'd say my slow travel is one of the things. The other thing that I haven't really like gotten fully connected to meditating yet, but what
Yeah.
I have been doing is I have been macrameing,
Yeah.
which is so meditating
Yeah.
for me. So I'll put on maybe some like handpan music. And if you don't know what handpan is, get into it.
I think
And music, which is very meditating, and then, just creating has been my, self-care. So,
yeah.
like,
Love
even though I am a creative, I don't feel like I have created
yeah.
it a little bit, so I creating has been my self-care recently.
Well, I love everything you're saying, but Imma share something that you told me earlier. We are in NAH season, so you will get to create. We're both scheduled to shoot in the next couple weeks, right? And so there's your creative part
Yes.
the creativity will manifest itself in whatever your collection looks like.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
excited. No pressure, by the way. So spoiler alert, I'm not 100% certain. So I know so when you prepare for a shoot, you're preparing for a shoot that you're spending time, energy, you've probably been like mood boarding for
yeah,
months and you're like, this is what I'm doing and I'm submitting to Naha. My process is totally different.
yeah,
Uh, hey friend, I want to do a test shoot. Are you free? Yeah,
yeah,
I'm free. Hold on. Let me see if I can grab some models. All right, let me get some models. Okay. Does anyone have any wardrobe?
yeah,
Okay. Who wants to do makeup? And then if it turns out
yeah.
good, I like it and I'm proud of it,
Then you'll submit.
then I'll submit it. And if
I
not,
listen. I
I'll
love
just
it.
post it. Yeah.
I love it. I feel like everyone has a creative process, but I love the fact that, to be quite honest, Tippy, you've done a lot of things in the industry. So I feel like as you are, coming around to where you are now, it's okay to live your soft life. It's okay to experience some things like this because working for brands, we're always so regimented in what we need to do and how we have to show up. So I love that. Like, I love that you are kind of switching the energy and changing it to where it's like, okay, I want to do this, but I'm going to do it on my terms, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely, my motto That has been my motto all year, by the way,
Yeah.
and so far it's been serving me pretty good, so we'll see how that continues on.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Uh,
So, I can't wait to see what you create. I'm excited. I'm sending all of the good vibes.
same, same, same. So hold on, we gotta wish each other on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Whoosh.
Thank
Yes.
All right, so I think we are nearing the end. Let's talk about us really quick, just for you all to get to know us a little bit. We're gonna do a little rapid fire round. How's that sound to you?
I'm down.
Okay, all right, awesome. Let me find the questions first. Man, all right.
Alright, so Tippy, what is your favorite song on repeat right now?
Favorite song on repeat is Doechii and SZA. How does it feel to be the bad bitch? How does
Yeah,
it feel to
yeah.
be the bad I
That's
think
a good one.
it's called Flirtatious. You're so
Okay.
flirtatious. I love that
That's
song.
a good
It's
one.
my jam.
That's a
What
good
about
one.
you? What about you?
Oh, mine is Sugar Sweet by Mariah, of course. You
Ah,
know, she's dropping a new album on the 27th. I'm
okay.
excited. So,
I haven't heard it yet. Imma have to listen since we're
yeah,
done.
it's different Mariah. It's cute though. And
Okay.
she has Kailani on it and another young lady. I can't remember her name, but it's very mellow. It's a cute Mariah song. So
Okay. Sugar
yeah, I'm
sweet.
excited. Yeah, Sugar Sweet.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
All right. So Tippy, what is your favorite fragrance that you're wearing?
Something I made. I have been chasing this fragrance, aroma, scent, whatever you call it. So as I talked about, I'm living my soft life and we've been spending a lot of time at the beach and I walked by this woman, I was like, oh, I was transported back to like my childhood. It was I don't know if it was banana boat or one of Hawaiian, I don't know what it was, but it's kind of coconutty. It just makes you happy. It smells like summer. It's just I just wanna perpetually be in that place, even in the winter. I want to mentally perpetually be in the summer.
Love
So,
that.
with that being said, I have made my own fragrance, and so that's what I'm wearing. But let me add, if anyone has ever tried Fenty Hair, her products kind of resemble this fragrance that I'm talking about, and also Kerastas's Curl Manifesto. Their refresher spray almost kind of and by the way, I usually just spray that in my hands, rub it through my hair just so I can have the fragrance. So if anyone is curious to know what the fragrance is that I'm talking about, it's Fenty Hair and Cara Sauce Curl Manifesto has similar fragrances.
Yeah.
What
Uh-huh.
about you?
I know exactly the fragrance you're talking about. My favorite fragrance is anything from Replica, and it's interesting because Replica is sold in the Pro Labs, right?
Yes, the
So
employee
every time
one.
yes, so every time I go to Pro Labs, I just stock up on whatever they have. One of the best one, I mean, one of the ones that I really really like is Under the Lemon Tree, and then it's one that's called By the Fireplace. So Under the Lemon Tree has like a citrus like kind of feel or smell, and then the other one is kind of like it's By the Fireplace. It's kind of like reminds me of fall, so it's like has like this woodsy type of smell,
Okay.
and it's another one called Jazz in the Garden or something like that. So those are like the spicy ones,
Yeah.
but like all of those are really good. I'm
The
kind of
names are amazing.
yeah, yeah. They have really cute names. And then the other thing is like I try to pick up a fragrance every time I travel internationally.
Yeah.
I pick up a fragrance from the airport. So whatever is like something that, I don't see in the States, I'll grab it. And I have one, I can't remember the name of it, but I try to do that too. I think that's a really cool way to kind of build your fragrances.
Fragrance. So
Yeah.
I've got a maybe an outing for us that we can capture for the beauty breakdown. I when I was in New York last month, there is a perfumery where you go in
Mm,
and create your own. So again, I'm chasing this fragrance, right? And so there's two. The one that I went to probably is a bit more pre-made than the other one because the other one you're like literally like just smelling notes.
yeah.
This one is they've got maybe 12 bases,
Yeah.
and then you build off of, like, those bases, and, yeah, I came up with my own fragrance that I what do I call it? I called it Pura Vida, which is Pure Life, but it's not the fragrance I'm chasing, but it's really close, and I love it.
Yeah.
So I can't think of the name of the spot. I'll put it down here.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of the spot, but maybe when we're in New York together, we'll do a field trip and, create our own
Okay.
fragrances.
I'm down.
Yeah. They do body wash, I think they do lotion and body oil and hair and body refresher. So,
Okay.
in addition to fragrance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So the next one is, what's your favorite product in your salon or in your kit that you have right now?
Ooh, that's tough. My favorite products. What am I loving? I'm gonna say anything scalp. So, and I buy a few different kinds of like oil scalp or scalp oil, for like pre cleansers. But I'd say the one. Okay, let me narrow it down. Wonder Crown. So Wonder Crown from Mizani. We have a lot of clients who are coming from protective styles,
Yeah.
end of the summer and things like that. So they've got like a great deal of buildup. And then also working with, my salon is a curl specialist salon. So 95% of our clients have waves, curls, or coils. And we're talking about people who, shampoo their hair once a week, once every 2 weeks, things like that. So there is an excessive buildup of sebum or whatever on the scalp. So Wonder Crown has just been our number one A+ star in our
Yeah.
salon. So and I love it. My daughter, every time I she comes to my salon and then we go home, I'm like, "Where did this Wonder Crown come from?" Like, she's, like, literally, like, snatched it from my salon. I'm like, "That's inventory, we gotta count that." Wonder Crown for the win around here.
Yeah. All right, so mine is Color Gels Oils by Redken. It
Mm,
is a ammonia-free liquid permanent color. It is infused with apricot oils, so it adds a ton of moisture in it, and it's a liquid formula. So again, when you think about like textured guests or people that have curls that expand a lot and they come in their hair, they come in the salon and they don't want to be blow dried, or you thinking about a fast application, Color Gels Oils works for me
yeah,
mostly in the salon. And like I said, I love that it's no ammonia and that it is infused with apricot oil because it definitely leaves an amazing shine on it. It is mixed or created for gray coverage. So what I think I was talking about, I was talking to a friend about this is like, when you think of color services, you think about those glamorous color services like, highlights and all of these double processes, but people don't realize that just simple gray coverage can pay the bills.
right,
There's a whole lot of women that just want just a standard gray coverage. And it works for me. And so that's what I absolutely love because I have a lot of guests that are like, yeah, just give me gray coverage and a silk press and I'm good.
right, right.
So, it leaves the hair super shiny, super soft, great smooth application, and ammonia free. So,
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. Quick process?
very quick process. Fashion must have. What's your I feel like I know what your fashion must have is, but I'm gonna let you say it.
So which is really interesting because I don't really consider myself a fashion girl either. So when you said that about Beyonce, I was like, I guess, yeah, me either. I'm not really one. Like I like
You
clothes.
always look good when I see you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But there's two things that I like. I like a nice handbag and I like a nice neck piece. And so if I have to choose one, I'm gonna go with the neck piece
Yeah.
because um it tells a lot about you and, again, right now I'm searching for the sun, looking for the
Yeah.
sun, I'm living my soft life, so everything, I in fact, I did a class with a mutual friend of ours the other day, and I was like, "Do you like this top?" She's like, "Yeah, it's giving, like, resort vibes." I'm like, "Yeah, I feel resort vibes." So, so I buy pieces. I love to buy vintage pieces. So I love going to like thrift stores or flea markets, things like that. And but I love things that are silver, a little aged, and bring me joy. I just like them to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
I
yours?
love that. Well, I was definitely gonna say a statement piece for you, which I still think is a necklace,
Yeah.
but you also wear really cool, like, bangles too.
Ah, thank
Um,
you.
the larger, like, bracelets.
Yeah.
So statement piece is what I was gonna say.
Thank you.
But for me, is a loafer, a nice loafer. I am in a space where, I'm a sneakerhead for sure, but I don't always wanna show up in a sneaker,
Right.
so I
Right.
wanna feel like being on stage and presenting and all of the things, I just want a nice loafer that I can transition from, a suit and loafer to maybe some jeans and a loafer. The other thing is I love is a crisp white shirt, like
Mm.
a button up, crisp white button up shirt. I think those are with jeans, with, shorts, with anything. And
Yeah.
I think those are great must haves or pieces that you can have in your closet to really build off.
I love that, and let me say for the record, I don't know if I've seen you in either.
When we're together, it's very specific, right?
It's like however, no, because man, your color palette suits, killing it,
Thank
killing
you.
it. But I'm just like, maybe there was a loafer, but I'm like, I don't know if I've
Well,
ever
I
seen
think
a
so. I wore a white shirt when we were presenting with, Essence one year. We
okay.
did a little video. I think we all had on green. It was me, you, and Jada. I had a white shirt on green pants.
Alright.
But
Yep, I got that photo right there.
yeah. But to
Alright.
your point, we don't get to, it's very I figured out a way to dress in the color palette, but kind of be authentic to who I am because it's difficult, like those color palettes that we have, like Texture of Change, their color palette was one thing,
Yeah,
he's one thing. The only the what I will say though, Brecken is black. So I do own a lot of black. We wear black in my salon, so I always pick black pieces up anyway, and I
yeah,
feel like it's more authentic to who I am and what I would wear.
yeah, yeah,
So I do have a lot of black, but it is difficult, when you have to have all of these different color palettes
yeah,
all the
yeah.
time. So
Yeah, so, I'm with LP and which is
yeah.
L'Oreal Professional for those who don't know, and it's all black for them as well. So prior actually to joining Mizani, which by the way, the color palette, which is very much where we are.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
Mizani, this is Mizani. Uh, so I have so much of those clothes, but prior to that, I was a Veda and that was all black. I was there for 6
Oh,
years.
really? Okay.
I joined Mizani and they're like, "This is the color palette." Like I had to go shopping.
Yeah. Same.
I'm talking about like a whole overhaul of my closet that's crazy. So now I'm
Well,
living
when I was on Mazzani when they changed the palette. So we were in black,
ah.
and we changed it, and so all of the black things that I had accumulated for so many years, it's like, "Yeah, you can go ahead and hang that in your closet because"
We're moving on.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, friends, this is a wrap on today's episode of the Beauty Breakdown. Jamal, I had so much fun.
Yeah.
Did you have a good conversation?
I did. I can't wait till next time.
So, friends, talking about next time, as we mentioned, our first episode, episode 1, we wanted you to get to know us a little bit. Moving forward, we are going to have guests, we're going to have giveaways, we're going to potentially pop up in some few places, show you some things live, show you some BTS. So, we're super excited for all the things to come. Jamal, any last words?
No, I'm excited about our conversation today, and please make sure that you like and subscribe and tune in because you don't want to miss our upcoming episodes. We are going to be talking about all things beauty, culture, fashion, and we are excited to see you soon.
So, friends, this is the Beauty Breakdown.
Be right down.